Hey guys, this is a pre-trigger warning. If you have any triggers, please click off of this video. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. I know that my hair's wet, but I feel like if I don't do this video right now, at this moment, when I feel strong enough to do it, I'm not going to make it. So I apologize. Here's my screen. I already feel myself shutting down mentally, and I haven't even opened my mouth yet. I spent 30 minutes crying in the shower, so I wouldn't do this, so I apologize. I'm not going to give an exact age that I was or a location that I was, because I still talk to a couple of people who are in this era of my life, and once I start telling the story, it will be pretty clear who I am talking about, and I don't feel ready to have that confrontation yet. But when I was young, very young, and just the age where I was able to go out and do things with my friends at night, I had this best friend, and I would go to her house all the time. I thought she was the coolest girl. She loved horses, so she had all these horses in her backyard, and we could go ride them and go down the back streets. Sometimes we'd run around pretending like we were warrior princesses. She had this boyfriend that started coming around a few months into our friendship. He was older. He said he was 18 at the time, but it turned out later he was actually older than that, but he had said he was 18. I remember when he first started coming around, I thought it was so cool to hang out at her house because I felt like an older kid, and I felt almost special that he would want to hang out with my friend and I. I've always loved to third wheel. I love to take pictures of my couple friends and oogle over them and tell them how cute they are. I am the biggest shipper of couples. And this one was no different. Every time I'd hang out with him, it was so much fun, and he was really quiet and mysterious almost. I thought that they were perfect for each other, and she would tell me all these problems that they would have, and I remember at that young age I just said that they would work through it, and she was overreacting, and he loved her. I didn't know what love was, but I thought that they had it. There was a really dangerous side to where I lived at this age. There were a lot of houses that they would make cocaine in. There were a lot of bad people living around. And at this point, I didn't even think there were bad people. I just thought people were misunderstood. And I still tried to be friends with everyone. There's a lot of racism, and a lot of things that scared me. This guy was no different. He lived at a very odd house off to itself. Just a short horse ride, actually, from my friend's house. So we would go from her house to his house at night, and they would sneak off, and I'd hang out with the horses. He was always really touchy. He would hug me in such an odd way when we said goodbye to each other. But I thought that was just what older kids did, and I wanted to be cool. And I thought he was my friend. And I thought I could trust him. There came a night where we had had a lot of fun, and we had all been hanging out together doing the horse so many horse things. And we were all laying under the stars. There were no bright lights out there, so you could see everything, and it was beautiful. And I was laying right here, he was laying right here, she was laying over here. And she went over and started laying on his stomach. And I was still laying off to the side. And she said, "Grace, come here, come join." And I did. I went over, and both of our heads were right here, and he was in the middle. And we started cuddling her, and of course my thoughts came that it was so cute, and I wish I had a boyfriend. And then he started playing with my hair, and it didn't feel friendly, like maybe his hugs had before. And I suddenly felt very uncomfortable with what was going on. I brushed it off because we were all having a good time, so I just rolled up and went back to my original laying over here position and kept looking at the stars. He would sleep over all the time, by the way. There were always condoms everywhere, but I never said anything. And we all went to bed. Usually it would be my friend and this guy in one bed, and then I would stay in the guest bed. This particular night, the guest bed had been infected with bed bugs. So we all slept in one bed, and it was him, my best friend, and me. And at one point, he had rolled over and was spooning my best friend between Megan and I. I was asleep at this point. And all of a sudden, I felt an arm wrapped around me. And I want to believe that at first I thought it was my best friend, but I knew it wasn't. And I remember just this rigidness went through my body, because somehow I already knew that I wasn't gonna like what was about to happen. I remember he very aggressively rolled me over and shoved his hand down on my throat. This guy was much bigger than I was. And I just wasn't strong enough. even though I could barely breathe, what he was doing. And he asked me if I was ready. I said, for what? I had never been touched there before. And I didn't know what to do. And then I started calling out for her because she was right there. And she was sleeping right there. And I know she could hear me. But he just put his hand down harder. And when I tried to hit him, he grabbed my wrists and he pinned them above my head so I couldn't move. And then when he finished, he rolled off and went to sleep. My first thought after this happened was if I would be in trouble. It was if my friend would be mad at me. If I could tell my parents. If I could tell anyone. And what would I even say? And even now, I'm thinking if I will lose friends for telling this story. If I will lose some of you for telling this story. If my family sees this, will they call and ask me about it? Before I made this video, I spent a long time looking in my closet for something to wear because I was worried that my story would be discredited because of what I was wearing, that somehow what I wore would determine whether what happened to me was okay. When this happened to me, I was wearing a t-shirt and jeans. I saw him 1,000,001 times after that. And he would always give me this look. And even though he never said anything, I knew what it meant. It meant if I knew what was best for me, I wouldn't say a word. I eventually got the courage to tell my other best friend, who also knew him. She thought I was trying to get attention, and that had never happened, and she knew him, and he wouldn't do that. That was until, I don't know if it was 6 months, I don't know if it was a year later, after I'd moved away. She called me hysterical because the same thing had happened to her and she didn't know what to do. And I almost didn't want to help her because when I was alone and I didn't know who to ask for advice and I didn't know what to do and I wasn't strong enough to be alone,
she didn't help me. And I would go to bed at night and just these visions of her telling me that what had happened to me didn't. Of him laughing in my face while I struggled and begged him to stop. Just were so loud. He laughed in my face. The last I heard about him, he got arrested on a different charge. And as far as I know, is still in jail. I knew it was time to tell this story when years later, my ex-boyfriend grabs my wrist, trying to be sexy. And I bust out in hysterical crying and hyperventilation. I knew it was time to tell this story when I saw someone who looked like him in a store, and I had to sit on the floor of a dressing room for an hour to get the courage to leave the room. I knew it was time to tell this story because if I don't speak about it, there isn't a voice. And if there's not a voice, there's not change. And if there's not change, there's not a future. I am asking every person, regardless of your gender, your age, your race, your religion, anything, please speak about your experiences if you have them. Speak about them for your daughters, your sons, for your mothers, for your sisters, and your brothers. Speak, please. Because I should not be sitting in my room crying, wondering about what's gonna happen after I post this video if I get called an attention seeker or a liar, or if I deserved it.